Hey traders, welcome back to the FXE YouTube channel. Once again, another interesting day of price action, so another update. Following week CPI news for the euro, EU dropped again. Will it continue to drop and target the lows or reverse and push back up? Let's review the charts and see what we can determine after yesterday's price action. Today I'm going to start with the yields. If we look at the 5-year first, it's currently reacting off the daily fair value gap. It shows more indecision as it's only one of the three that's attempted to push up yesterday. It's currently at the daily fair value gap and also the monthly fair value gap, both of which should act as support, and it would make sense if we saw price push up from here. But at the same time, if it does break through it and come lower, then there's a chance that it may just continue for a deeper pullback. Now, if we look at the 10-year and the 30-year, they're both continuing to push down. They broke through the upper daily fair value gap, and the lower daily fair value gap is just below. The 10-year has reached the daily fair value gap, while the 30-year is still trying to reach it. They're both within the monthly volume imbalance, and this monthly volume imbalance should act as support. For now, I'm guessing that we should see a reaction off the daily fair value gap, the lower one, and we should see the yields continue higher. But if it breaks through, then we could see a much bigger pullback. And just really quick, before I move on to the next chart, I just want to clarify why I'm talking about yields in the first place. So yields are highly correlated with the dollar, and it kind of acts as an early indicator. So when yields start to come down, we usually see DXY come down after. When yields start to go up, we usually see DXY come up after. And that's the importance of why we talk about yields. Now moving on to the next chart. I just want to do a quick comparison with the majors. You can see the effect of the Euro CPI and the UK CPI, both of which caused the price to tumble. So they came down for a significant pullback, but if you look at AU and NU, they were much less impacted. And since then, you can see we've already started to see strength in AU. But the reason why we're seeing strength in AU is because today for Australia, they had their CPI results and they were quite good. So there's a reason why AU has come up since. And if we look at all the majors, you can see that no significant structure has been broken to the downside on yesterday's push down. For now, there's no indication that the majors are ready to fall. So I'm going to assume that we may see the price push right back up. Now moving on to DXY, starting with the daily time frame, we can see that price pushed down, created a lower low, came into the weekly fair value gap, had a massive reaction, and pushed right back up. So price came back into the OB, and I don't know if you noticed, but there's kind of a common theme that we're seeing is once we reach certain levels, we tend to have massive pullbacks. But what happens after? Price comes right back down. So for now, I'm going to consider the possibility for lower pricing. I'm looking at this as just a pullback and an opportunity to get into trades when DXY comes right back down. Now onto the hourly. So you can see that price had that massive pullback. We had the 4-hour fair value gap right here. This was an area that I was hoping would hold if we got another pullback, but you can see DXY went right through it. It came back into the extreme and left some relatively equal highs, which I'm a little worried about, especially as it's already started to push down. So as such, there is a chance that we may see price come back, take out those equal highs, like a massive manipulation in London Open, for example, take out those equal highs and then come down. But there's also the possibility that we may get a small pullback, retest supply, and then come down from there. Just not sure how low it goes, but I am expecting DXY to come back down again. Whether it targets the low and continues lower remains to be seen. It could just come to this fair value gap, get support, turn around, and push right back up. Now on to EU, starting with the daily time frame. So you can see that EU pushed up, came into the daily fair value gap that I've been targeting for some time now, and thereafter we had a reaction and the price came right back down. So this was following my expectation. In yesterday's video, what I said was just monitor how low EU comes down. And as you can see, EU hasn't broken any structure for the time being. It's just come down to test what came back into discount, and potentially could give some buying opportunities from here. So the way I look at it, until we start to see some major breaks to the downside, I'll be looking at every pullback or every push down as an opportunity to get into more buys. Now onto the hourly time frame. So you can see above, this is a daily fair value gap that I was targeting. So we reacted off of it, had a pullback, came into this fair value gap, and this is the one that I was hoping would hold, but instead it flew right through it, as with DXY, for a much deeper pullback. And there was a 4-hour fair value gap in the extreme, and this for the time being is holding. It filled it, and then it's been consolidating at the 4-hour fair value gap. And now what you can see, it's starting to have a reaction now, starting to show some signs of strength. It's created a bullish shift already on the lower time frame and could give a really nice trade to push back up, push back to the upside. As with DXY, I have no idea how high it can go. It is possible that we see EU continue up and break the highs again, but it is also feasible to think that we may just come into this 4-hour fair value gap. This 4-hour fair value gap acts as resistance, and price comes right back down. And just really quick, one more potential scenario that I can see. It kind of looks like this potentially could be the start of a market maker sell model. You can see we're consolidating in this area. We'll probably have one more pullback, and then after that, expectation is for price to come up from here. And then once price comes up, if this is a market maker sell model, we should see a shift wherever EU will want to go, whether it's the extreme in this fair value gap here, or the OB, or maybe even this 4-hour fair value gap. And we get our shift and it slams down and targets these equal lows that were created during this consolidation. Now let's have a really quick look at the lower time frames. You can see last night we already had a shift, and since then we've more or less been consolidating, but just a few minutes back we got a second break. So we have a lot of confirmation now that price will go up. So what I'll be looking for during London session is, you can see we do have some equal lows left behind as well. So what I would like to see is EU come and target these equal lows, and thereafter I don't even know if we'll get a shift, to be honest. Come down, test the extreme, and thereafter explode to the upside. So this is a scenario that I'm hoping for during London session, and the one I plan to trade if we see price come into this area. But Depending on how it comes in, if it consolidates a little before and then has one last sweep down, then I'll just enter a risk entry. But if it aggressively pushes down and breaks the equal lows, then I'll hold off on an entry and wait, and then see if we get a shift then, and then I'll enter. Anyways, that's all I got for today. Hopefully you found some value in today's video, and if you did, a like and a subscribe would be appreciated. Good luck trading today, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.
Black Swan.